May it please the court. My name is Kirtong Hong, representing the plaintiff appellee Youngbook Webtoon Promotion Agency, also called GWPA. Your Honor, Sonic AI's intermediate copying of GWPA's copyrighted works does not qualify as fair use because it exploits the expressive value of the works for the same commercial purpose as the originals and causes substantial harm to GWPA's existing and foreseeable markets. The first fair use factor weighs strongly against Sonic AI. Under the Supreme Court's decision in Andy Warhol Foundation versus Goldsmith, the central inquiry is whether the Sonic AI's use shares the same commercial purposes as GWPA's, not merely whether it employs new technology or internal processing methods. GWPA's works were created to enter the Webtoon industry and illustration publishing markets. Sonic AI copied these works in order to train a generative AI model that produces substitute illustrations and webtoons for the very same market. Although Sonic AI characterizes its use as analytical, its ultimate goal is the creation of commercial illustrations that directly compete with human artists. Similar to Warhol, the secondary use here shares substantially the same purpose as the original works, and therefore it is not transformative. Also, this case is different from Authors Guild versus Google, and also different from Sega versus Accolade. In Google Books, the copies were used to enable search and snippet viewing, a function that pointed users back to the original works and did not create substitutes. Also in Sega, intermediate copying was necessary to access unprotected functional codes. Here, in contrast, Sonic AI copied purely creative works for their expressive qualities, which the model used to generate competing artistic outputs. So this use is far closer to Warhol, Comic Mix, and also VHT rather than to Google Books or Sega. Now, moving on to my second argument, the fourth factor also weighs heavily against Sonic AI. For the fourth factor, we must look at the effect on the market. GWPA's contest was designed to help emerging artists enter professional publishing markets. Sonic AI's model allows users to generate works in plaintiff styles without hiring those artists. This, in effect, destroys present and also future publishing opportunities for emerging artists. This is market substitution, similar to the harm we found in Warhol and Thomson Reuters versus Ross Intelligence. Also, Sonic AI argues that licensing markets for AI training is hypothetical. However, the Supreme Court precedent makes clear that copyright owners are entitled to control licensing markets reasonably related to their works. As in Warhol and TVI's, the harm here is not abstract. Sonic AI allows users to bypass artists altogether, eliminating demand for GWPA artists' works in the very markets that they wanted to enter. Therefore, in conclusion, Sonic AI's intermediate copying is not transformative under controlling precedent because it uses plaintiffs' expressive works for the same commercial purpose, which is producing illustrations and webtoons for the market. Moreover, Sonic AI's conduct causes real harm to plaintiffs' present and also future markets. Therefore, GWPA respectfully submits that the first and fourth fair use factors weigh against fair use. So Sonic AI's fair use defense should be rejected. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Counsel, so Google Books held that copying entire works can be fair use when the purpose is analytical, turning books into searchable data rather than replacing the books themselves. Sonic AI argues it did the same thing here by turning artwork into numerical data for analysis. Why this case should not be treated the same way as Google Books, given that Sonic did not display or sell the original artworks?
Your Honor, in Google Books, copying was used to help people search books, not to create new books. In contrast, here, the facts show that Sonic AI wanted to build a tool that lets people create webtoon style art and trained AI so users could make comics without artists. So, under Warhol, the key question is purpose. Here, Sonic's training is aimed at producing art for the same webtoon market that the artists want to enter. So this is not a neutral type of analysis like in Google Books. This directly leads to substituting art that the webtoon artist created. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Counsel, in K3, the court warned that in almost every fair use case, a plaintiff can define a potential market as the market for licensing the very use being challenged. Here you argue Sonic caused harm by not paying for an AI training license. Why isn't that exactly the kind of circular market definition K3 tells us we should not accept?
Your Honor, we are not only claiming harm to AI training licenses. According to the facts, it shows that the contest was designed to help artists enter publishing and Webtoon markets. However, Sonic AI's tool allows users to create similar art without hiring artists, and this reduces the commissions and publishing opportunities for artists who are in the emerging market. So, under Warhol and also Ross, harm exists when the defendant's use it replaces the artists in the market or lets others avoid paying artists. Now, this is what's happening in our situation also. So this kind of harm is not just imaginary, it is real, and it is clearly something that is protected by copyright law. Thank you.